Aaron Von Frank lives in Greenville, and he is an entrepreneur in this marvelous new business we have that has to do with organic and heirloom seeds. Tell us how you got started interested in this.
Well, it's sort of a lifetime interest, really. My grandfather was an organic gardener, and so I grew up, some of my earliest memories were on his garden, eating his tomatoes, and he was thrilled to have me out there eating his produce. My parents always had organic gardens growing up. And my wife and I started our garden, really got into it maybe 6-7 years ago, and she's a biologist by training. So once we kind of came together and got a yard, it sort of just became a real passion that took over our lives, and we just became obsessed with it, especially heirloom seeds, which we're going to talk about somewhat here.
And you've got some fascinating seeds here, and we're going to talk about some of them and see some pictures of them, because people always like something that's different. And one of them, this is a charming little pumpkin, and this pumpkin has a funny name. It's called Black Futsu. How did it get a name like that?
Well, I don't actually speak Japanese, but I think futsu means something in Japanese, which I'm not certain what. It was bred by Japanese breeders.
Maybe it means delicious.
Maybe it does. It could. So it's one of the unique things about this pumpkin is it's about maybe 10 to 20 pounds. It's a little bit smaller. A lot of times they're actually darker than this one. This is one we grew in our garden last summer. Yeah, it's really pretty. But the flavor of it's really unreal. So it's you don't actually have to use sugar or any kind of sweetener when you cook it. So it has so much sweetness and great nutty flavor by itself that you can make a pie out of it without hardly any ingredients other than pumpkin.
I wish you'd brought a pie along with the pumpkin.
I probably should have done that.
But I could have one next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I join it.
Or I can give you this pumpkin. You can take it home and make a pie.
Grow seed. And then another one is a garden berry, and this one is called garden huckleberry. Now, you hear about huckleberries, and I guess it's like common names because it means different things to different people. So. You said sometimes up north they call blueberries huckleberry. Mm-hmm. Is this a blueberry?
No, it's not. I mean, what it is sort of a dark color. It has the anthocyanins that they're typical of kind of a purple or black.
They're so healthy for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's not a huckleberry. As far as the common name goes, what they call blueberries up north. We're not Yankees. So, but basically, the garden huckleberry. This is actually from Africa, and it's an annual plant, unlike a blueberry.
Annual.
Mm-hmm. So it grows. Single season, you can get 5 pounds of fruit off of a single plant.
Look at that beautiful, beautiful fruit. A single plant that you grow from seed, you can get 5 pounds of fruit off.
Yep. And so those are actually pictures from our gardens. There it is, preserved.
Delightful.
So one of the things about this one, though, is you don't want to actually eat them fresh, like a lot of berries. They're just not that great that way, the flavor. So when you cook it, something magical happens, and the flavor really comes out of these, and it sort of has this blueberry, blackberry, grape flavor that's unreal.
So do you put it in a pot and put a little sugar in it, or how do you go about cooking it?
Yeah, if you're making a syrup, you could do that. If you're making preserves, you just follow your typical kind of berry recipes and just substitute these in place.
Oh, it just sounds wonderful.
They are absolutely delicious.
And I can plant a seed and get 5 pounds of fruit from a single bush.
And very vigorous plants. These are really hardy, stocky plants, about 3 feet tall. And they're just loaded with berries from, I think we picked our last berries up in Greenville, which is where we are, is AgriZone 7B. We were picking all the way into fall.
Whoa, gosh, I've got to have some of those. And then we've got another one that is Aunt Molly's ground cherry. Now, I don't know much about ground cherries. I hear about them, but I never have had one.
Yeah, these are delicious. So these are actually native to the Americas. They're still growing wild up in Clemson Experimental Forest. And they're a husk fruit, so they're in the Physalis family, so they look similar to a tomatillo, which they have the husk on them. You take the husk off.
Oh, that papery kind of covering?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. And then you pop them up. So I call them pistachio of fruit because you're just addicted. You just get a bowl of these things and you start eating them and you can't stop.
So you don't have to cook or do anything to these. You just eat them.
Well, I mean, you can't. Actually, you can make pies and whatnot, but ours never make it that long.
Just right out of right off the ground.
Yes.
It's called,
yeah, they actually drop when the fruit's ripe. It drops.
And you said that actually some of your interest in these wonderful heirlooms from all over the place that are so different came because you were visiting a garden and with someone who's now part of your business, I think. Tell me that story.
So our education director was one of our first friends when we moved to Greenville, and she wasn't at the time as far as our education director goes. But we went over to her garden. She's a phenomenal gardener. She teaches gardening and has all these a huge number of credentials behind her name. But we went to her house, and this is one of the varieties she let us try, and I just never had anything like it. And it sort of has this pineapple-y tomato flavor that's just really out of this world. So, long story short, I was kind of blown away. My wife is blown away, and we said, there's all this fruit out there and all these vegetables that we just don't know about. You just don't find it at a grocery store, and that's where some of the heirlooms come in. Is there's just so many wonderful things out there. So we decided to start growing them.
And one of the things that we always talk about is we've got to have things for the pollinators. And you said that y'all have found a wonderful way to do that because there's some flowers that are edible that not only do we enjoy, but our flying friends do too. And one of them is German chamomile. Mm-hmm.
So this is one, if you have had chamomile tea, which is a wonderful thing to drink at night, it calms you down, makes you nice and relaxed. and tastes great. Kind of has a pineapple apple type flavor to it, very unique. So this is one of the many edible varieties.
And the chamomile, I think, is it the one with the white petals that looks kind of like a little daisy?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's you know, yellow center, white flowers there. Those are all edible flowers from our garden. So this is one of the minis that we grow. So we get a great product out of it. We get nice tea. Our beneficial pollinators come in. They get to buzz around and get the pollen and nectar, all that good stuff out of our flowers. So everybody's happy at the end of the day.
And you've even brought some examples of fresh produce because, of course, in South Carolina, the garden gives us things almost year-round. So what have we got in this beautiful
so
basket?
even up in Greenville, we just had 6 inches of snow where we lived, or 4 to 6, somewhere in that range. It depends on where you were. Even then, we can still get produce. So we grow, in the winter, we'll grow under, we call them polytunnels, low polytunnels. And we get all kinds of, we have a red Russian kale here. It's a Napa cabbage. We have some beets, some kohlrabi. So there's all kinds of great stuff you can grow. And one of the benefits of living in this climate is that 365 days a year you can go out in your yard and find
really
something
can.
great.
Yeah, you can have supper, can't you?
Absolutely.
Now, you've got a new business started, this GrowJourney, and tell us how it operates.
Yeah, so it's different from a traditional seed company. We don't do seed catalogs and that sort of thing. It's a subscription service. So you basically sign up, and depending on the size of your garden, you put in some information, and then we basically will start sending you seeds. They're all curated. They're all certified organic. We're working with organic farms around the country, and the seeds are selected for you, so you get to discover.
So every month, I get some seeds and it's the appropriate time for me to get these seeds.
Yeah,
time for me to start doing something with them.
They're seasonally selected, so obviously right now is a little tricky. So right now what you'd be getting is spring and summer varieties. So we're getting you ready for the warmer weather that's coming up. So that's what we're sending out right now. And
now, since some of these things are so unusual, I feel like I need some information. And you mentioned an education coordinator. So do y'all have a way that people can write back and forth and saying, oh my goodness, I'm having trouble, or what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, we provide, so if you get a seed, it's only so good if you don't know what to do with it, right? So we provide like a ton of educational resources around that, and those are we're getting better and better with our educational resources. We're adding video tutorials soon. We basically want to have the most educated consumers on the planet as far as when it comes to how to organic garden. And so that's what we're creating here. So you can go online, you can get all these, we have grow guides and grow plans and all this different stuff built around the seeds that we provide to you. So education is our service, and our product is the seeds.
And you are envisioning that people can change their landscape so that it really does more than just visually give them beauty, that it adds beauty to the natural environment, and that it supports it's a sustainable system.
Yeah.
And you've got a nice little phrase over there. I wrote it down. I've underlined it for you so you could remind me of what it was.
One seed, one person, one yard, and one farm at a time. Absolutely.
That's a nice way for us to think about changing the way that we do things. And I think you've got a great business model, and we can't wait to learn more about it in the future.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.